want to show a healthy relationship, but let me tell you something. Healthy relationships are boring.
Welcome to Expired Optimism, where real conversations meet real people. My name is Tony, and with May being Mental Health Awareness Month, I felt like this was the right conversation to have. I'm joined by Anna B., author of Stay With Me, a story about music success and what people don't always see that's on the surface.
Well, my name is Anna B. Stay With Me is my debut novel, and it is, at its core, a lot of my own experiences because I spent most of my 20s going to lots and lots and lots of concerts. So I really love the indie music scene specifically, or bands that feel indie, I guess. So that is what inspired me to write this novel.
Well, Anna, I have been following you on TikTok for probably a little over a year. And what's crazy is I didn't start following you because of book talk, which is funny because, like, for someone who hasn't really read books in forever, I always find myself on book talk side of TikTok, which is very weird. But like the book talk scene on TikTok is wild. But if I remember correctly, it was a post that you made a while ago, probably about a year ago, about concert etiquette. I don't remember the exact video or what you're exactly talking about, but it was about concert etiquette. And then after checking out your page, I realized that you were like a Reliant K fan. I was like, oh, well, that's cool. Then all of a sudden I noticed that you were actually in the process of writing a book or finishing up the book. And that's why I just continued to like follow your journey of Stay With Me.
Oh, yeah, I actually have been following Reliant K, probably one of the longest and the one I've seen the most. I started seeing them when I was about 16. I actually came on very late to the scene. I started listening to them in like 2011, like right after Forget Not Slow Down came out. But that's when I really started going, and then I went to the Collapsible Lung release in Nashville, and the rest was history. I was like, I have to see them as much as I can. Which isn't that much. Like, overall, since, I guess, 2013 is when that album came out, I've seen them probably, like, 25 times, which seems a lot. But one of my best friends has seen them, like, 50 or 60 times. Like, so,
That's
you know, I
wild.
think I'm pretty normal.
Oh yeah, you're pretty normal. I've actually only seen them one time, and this will show my age. I saw them at 2008 Warped Tour in Houston.
Oh, my goodness.
But yeah, I love Reliant K. And so like I followed you because yeah, like I said, you posted some video about concert etiquette. I forgot exactly what you were talking about, so I apologize. But I'm like,
Yes.
okay, I got a music related niche on TikTok. I'll follow her.
Yes.
And then you're posting about Reliant K, and next thing you know, I start seeing this book that you're writing. Like I said, this was probably like earlier last year, and a year later now, you're an author of a published book.
I am. That's crazy. I do remember the video that you're talking about concert etiquette. I have this tendency to go on rants when something really gets under my skin, and I do feel like the younger generation, and especially like post-COVID, like fanhood was already going in a different direction of like almost like competitive, you know, like, and I guess it's always been around, like there's always been groupies, but I think a lot of people agreed with me on that video that it is like, I don't know, it's just taken a different turn, and it's all about like there are now fans of fans, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Like there are people who follow, you know, whoever it may be, like a band or an artist, and they've seen them, like I said, like 50, 60, 100, 200 times, you know. And I don't know, it's just like there's a lot of shoving and like just rudeness. Like, I'm like, guys, this is something that brings us all together. We all come from very different walks of life. Like, and a lot of the bands I listen to specifically are just about like, you know, being there for each other and like helping people get through the dark times. And I'm like, the message went right over your
Yeah,
head.
exactly.
Like,
Yes.
I don't know. So
Yeah, like so my son is 13 years old. He just turned 13 in February, and I brought him to his first concert 2 years ago, yeah, 2024. I brought him to go see Blink-182 and Pierce the Veil in San Antonio. And those are two of his favorite bands. He loves Pierce the Veil and Blink-182. So it only felt appropriate to bring him to a concert where two of his favorite bands are playing at the same time.
Yes.
He knew we were going, but he didn't know how close we were going. We get there and we start walking down, and then we start walking close to the stage, and I bought third row tickets, floor tickets for him. When Pierce the Veil was playing Circles, I looked down and he was like doing this. I'm like, hey, are you okay? And he's like, I'm just so happy. So ever since then, all he wants to do is go to concerts. So when I brought him to Warped Tour in Washington, D.C. last year, I'm like, this is going to be a very different experience for him. So we got VIP passes just so we're not in the crowd, like what you were talking about, just people shoving and the urgency of being right on the barricade and not caring like who's in front of you. And I believe there's a lot of rudeness at concerts now. Like I've been going to concerts, like this is going to show my age, but my very first concert was in 1998. So, yeah.
I was 3.
Oh shit. but like, I remember a time where like you would go to a concert and you didn't have everybody holding up their cell phone, and like there was some form of like just civility at concerts, but like now it's like,
and I've seen a lot of artists. I think 21 Pilots did it, but also more recently, Justin Bieber did a performance with no phones allowed, and it was like in a small intimate setting. And I'm like, please do this, because for very long in my concert, I have no pictures, no videos, because I was like, I'm going to be in the moment. Like, I'm talking like at least 7 years worth of concerts. I have no proof that I went to other than like the ticket, because I was so about just like living in the moment. But then I got, I met my husband, I got engaged, and now I take a lot of videos and pictures because I want to show him what I experienced. Yes. Because I often go with my friends, so.
And look, I'm guilty of pulling up my cell phone and taking a video. But like, I'm not down with the rudeness. I'm not like, respect people's spaces, respect just people in general.
Absolutely.
But like, when I started this podcast, a lot of people thought this was going to be a music podcast. And like the first episode, I had the lead singer who sings the theme song of this show. Okay. And then the second episode, I had an antique collector, and they're like, whoa, what's this?
Wait.
So Expired Optimism, like I said, is where real conversations meet real people. And, I've had a business coach on the show. I've had a touring stage manager on the show.
Ooh,
I've had a physical movie collector. And now I have an author on my show. So tell me about Stay With Me.
Oh, well, I brought my book just so I could be like, here it is. Woohoo. Stay With Me was born... Okay, I'll just start because it's not the sole inspiration, but one of the main inspirations did come from me doing it wasn't trailing. I went to like 3 or 4 shows in a row for Judah and the Lion. And Judah and the Lion is very much about like mental health forward. Both of the guys in it, their moms are therapists or counselors, like one of the two.
Hey.
So they're very much about that. And there's one song that connects to people like very deeply. Everybody always asks about it in the VIP little acoustic session question answer thing. It's called Beautiful Anyway. And so, because I went to like 3 or 4 nights in a row, every night somebody would ask about it, and every night he revealed a different detail of the song. I don't think he was doing it on purpose, like he was just speaking freely. But that really inspired me and made me ask myself, like how much life lived goes into one song. And so that question was kind of floating around in my brain, and I decided that I wanted to create my own fictional band to explore that question.
So how long of a process was this? Because obviously I'm assuming that this is something that you probably wanted to do, like write a book. But like, obviously you have to go from that to start brainstorming of like, I want to write about this story. And then you start working on that story. And then you're like, okay, I'm going to turn this story into this. And then you got the spider web effect to where like, now I got this and now I got this. So like, how long has this been in the works? Like,
Man, I want to just say like the 3.5 years, right? Because that's the time that I spent actually writing the book. But That's not true because like I said, all the experiences of my life plus all of the concerts that I've been to and the bands that I've stanned and all of those things played into this book. And I did write a novel when I was in high school. The band wasn't the
Wow.
main focus, but there was a band, and then I also wrote a short story about a band when I was in college. It was about a guy who was the frontman of a band that is mentioned in my book. They're not the main band, but Crooked Arrow was in that short story, and he was a dad, and it was called Family Frontman, and it was about like him trying to connect with his like 4 year old like while he was home, and off the road. So it's been in
Well,
the making for a long time.
oh, I can only imagine because I used to be a touring musician. That's why the story of this book like really
Yeah.
intrigued me because
Okay.
I was a touring musician from 2002 to 2008, 2009. I
Okay.
did a lot of my touring up the East Coast and throughout the Midwest.
Okay.
So like the
What was
story
your
of
band? Could I
so I was
ask?
I was a solo artist.
Okay.
I went by subject optional. It's kind of like how Chris Carrabba goes by Dashboard Confessional.
Right,
But
right.
I played emo music. I always use quotations whenever I use emo because like, a lot of people say emo is everything and it really isn't, but that's for a different story, different time. But I played light acoustic indie rock. What intrigued me was 320 Sycamore, and it's like you created this band, like, and the coolest part is that you actually have music of this band. How did that come about?
Yes. Well, from the very beginning, I knew I wanted to merge the two. Like, the heart of the book is music and mental health, and so I really wanted to figure out a way to bring music into it. I didn't know how that was going to happen when I first started. But my friend Daniel's band, I met Daniel through Reliant K. We've only met in person once, but we messaged back and forth about Reliant K and stuff. And I was like, hey, you make pop punk. Would you be interested in making this song for my book? And he was like, it's not gonna be like, the Song of Sparrow or something. Like, I remember he asked me that. I was like, do you know me at all? Like, I was like, no, it's not gonna be like that. It's about a band. So, yeah, that's how that came about. And it's funny because I did not have a song written. Like, I knew that the entire book was going to be the life experiences leading up to the creation of the song. Like, I had that planned for a very long time, but like I had no idea what the song was going to be exactly about. Like, I mean, I kind of knew, right? Because I knew like the life
Hmm.
experiences, but I had not written a drop until like the very end of the process of the song. So,
Oh, okay. Well,
yeah.
that's one thing that really intrigued me about the whole story of Stay With Me is that you have this fictional band, 320 Sycamore, and it's almost like it's this own entity. Like even though it's in the book, but it's like I remember before the book came out, you were kind of pushing the book. You were doing a lot of pre-orders, and I think you had different types of pre-order
Yes.
plans. Like you could order the book, you could order this plan. I think that it had a lot to do with you kind of in a way crowdsourcing the publication of
Yes.
the book. But what I thought was really cool was one of the plans to pre-order the book had stickers, had like kind of like what a press pass or something. I'm like, this is such a cool way to promote the book. So can you tell me how that came to be?
Yeah, so I don't know, like I really love a fictional band. I love the show Julie and the Phantoms. I would say that was another one of the main inspirations for my book. And I love so there's two bands. There's Julie and the Phantoms cuz the original band joins her. But that band is called Sunset Curve, and they're kind of like indie rock vibes. And so I own a T-shirt of Sunset Curve, and so I was like, and I love it. Like I wear it all the time. I wear it to concerts, hoping people will ask me. I'll be like, oh yeah, this is a fake band. Um, so that's kind of where I got the idea to do like merch and stuff. And then I have amazing artist friends. My friend Marley, who I met through TikTok and the writer side of TikTok. She is also writing a book. She designed one of the stickers. And then my friend Tessa, who I met through the band Half Alive, she designed the other part of the stickers. So they just like, I don't know, I had a whole team of people to really like help bring this vision to life. And I feel very blessed because people are like, you have a lot of cool people, but it's from collecting amazing people through going to concerts for so long. Like I know these people like through bands. So
Well, like the saying goes, it takes a village. And if people are
yes.
willing to help you out and they're good faith actors, just go ahead and have them work with you. I really
Yes.
liked how it was like band merch. It was cool.
Yes.
And I think that there was one other thing that was in the pre-order, one of the plans. You had like a bookmarked.
It looks like a ticket. I don't have one sitting
Yeah, that's
here,
what it
but
was.
yeah.
And I was like, this is the coolest thing ever, because if you're going to write a book about a band, and obviously it actually obviously has a story to it, but if you're
Right.
going to write a book about a band, it's so freaking cool to have like the band merchandise to go with the book. It's
Yeah.
such a good collab.
Thank you. I appreciate it. I just had this vision for the whole thing, and like I said, I didn't know how I was going to get a song. Like I didn't know how, but this is like yeah, it was always like more than just a book. Like I always kind of had the vision for it to be like its whole thing. So I'm glad it all came to be.
Now this is volume one. Like is
Yes, this
so
is
so
one.
are you planning to write a series for 320 Sycamore?
Yes, it is a trilogy. It's the 320 Sycamore trilogy. The first book follows Brian, and he is the lead singer, lyricist, and bassist. He plays other instruments, but that's what he plays on stage. And then next book, book two, is Henry. He's the drummer. He's my favorite member. Everybody be ready for Henry's book. And then lastly is Mallory, Sean Mallory. They call him Mallory. And he is the lead guitarist and keyboardist. And so each of them will have their own story, because I think it got a little confused in one of my videos. People thought that I was going to be telling this same story from their point of views, and I'm like, no, that's not what happens. Henry's story picks up like almost directly after Stay With Me ends, and then Mallory's story actually takes place like 10 years in the future, because my
Okay,
book
that's
is
cool.
set in like 2014 through 2016. So,
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah, I was telling my son about this podcast episode I was recording, and he had a ton of questions about the book. And like I said, he's 13. He's not much of a reader. He's your typical 13-year-old that likes to play on the VR, likes to,
Sure.
watch movies. And he was like, is it in first person? Is it in second person? I'm like, obviously, I know what you're learning about right this moment in school. So the book, Stay With Me, is just from Brian's point of
Yes,
view. Okay.
it is.
Now, so tell me about Brian.
Yeah. So Brian, he doesn't really have because I think a lot of people have been like working towards bandhood for a long time, right? Like it's something that takes many, many years. And so while writing this book, I knew that if I made Brian like 18 years old, that it would be so much easier to get picked up by a publisher. But me personally, knowing like the stories of the bands that I love, that's very rare. I feel like it was like more common back in the day, but it's becoming more and more rare. You know what I'm saying? So Brian is 24 years old. I made that decision. And he has some Italian in him. His grandpa is Italian, and he plays a big role in the book. But yeah, and so actually, this is a fun fact. His story kind of starts, he tells it in the middle of the book, but his story kind of starts, the band's story kind of starts when his brother is watching a 21 Pilots live clip on YouTube while they're at Sonic, and Brian is like in a crisis because he doesn't want to go to college. He's working at the mall, and he's like, you know what, I can do that. Like, and he was like, I never really considered it growing up because it's just like, you feel like there is a big ravine between you and people who have made it. And he was like, okay, but like, why can't I make it? And that's kind of like the realization that I had about writing my book as well. I'm like, why can't I do what I want to do? And so Brian has that realization, and then he starts collecting his band.
How successful are they in the book? Like, are
Yeah.
is it in the start, or like they started gaining success, right?
Yes, yes. So Stay With Me is the song that comes to be by the end of the book, and that's kind of what skyrockets them to success. They already
Mm-hmm.
had decent success. They were playing small venues, like 1,000 cap rooms. They were playing that at the start of the book, but this song, breaks out, gets on the alternate number 1 on the alternative charts, like, like a low number on the Billboard charts, and then they are now like selling out arenas.
So that makes it more realistic that they're 24 in their mid 20s, because it shows they paid their dues, you know.
Yes.
So tell me about the mental health aspect of the book without going into detail, because if you tell everything about the
Okay.
book, then like what's the point of even pushing the book?
Well, I actually did want to tell you when we're talking about the trilogy. So each book in the trilogy delves into a different mental health thing. So Brian's has one, Henry's has one, and Mallory's has one. They're all struggling with different things with their mental health. So yeah. So I really use music as a way to move through really rough patches with my mental health in my life. I grew up in a very traumatic household, and it has always been kind of like a comfort to me. And the difference between me and Brian is that Brian was raised in a really great home. They did kind of question his band dreams at first, but like came around. But he was raised very healthily. So you see him start and he's like on top of the world, like he meets a girl, like his band is doing pretty good. They're on a break, like it's supposed to be giving him time to write, but and then all of these things just kind of happen in his life. Like he's struggling to write. Like he's like, I've never had an issue writing, like I'm a faucet. I'm pouring out music all the time. But suddenly he just like hits this wall of writer's block. So that's one thing. And then like somebody has a health emergency. And then, all of these things like add up to him ending up struggling with his mental health. And so I like that, because I think that even people who don't have like really bad backstories or difficult things that they've been through. Like he's been through hard things, but you know what I'm saying? Like
Yes.
even people that have all the cards in their favor, right? Like he's in a band, it's successful, like he has a good family. It seems like he has everything. Even those people can still struggle with their mental health. I chose specifically to talk about men's mental health in this book because I feel like our society still kind of looks down on men for struggling with their mental health, and men are the ones who are committing suicide the most. And so that's why I chose specifically to dive into it in this book.
Well, there's a stigma when it comes to mental health, and it's somewhat getting better. Growing up, like I said, like I'm really freaking old. I grew up in the 90s,
Yeah.
and like if you had some form of depression, like get over it, just be
Yeah.
happy, just snap your fingers. So a lot of people, up until and it's still an issue to a lot of people, but you know it's somewhat getting better. But a lot of people, just live alone, just live in silence, just deal with it on their own. And there's a lot of people that can't handle, dealing with it on their own. There's a lot of people that don't have, a supportive circle, and they do have people that do have a supportive circle. I have a mix of in between. Some people don't have the means, and mental health counseling, medication, all that is not as accessible as it should be. And I believe that has a lot to do with the health industry, health insurance and
Yeah.
all that. It's just, sometimes, costs like $100 just to talk to somebody for an hour. So a lot of people don't have the money or the means to actually get the help they need. And by reading a book or hearing a song or watching a movie, something like that can help them feel like they're not alone. That's something great about writing a book about a band, but also having that mental health aspect with the band, is that you might have someone living alone with their mental health. They could have, bipolar depression, anxiety, sleep deprivation, and they read a book about something and they're like, this clicks, this hits close to home.
Yes. 100%. Yeah, I think that's so, so important. Even though I have now been in therapy for a very long time, although my therapist just retired, RIP, but I gotta find a new therapist. Yeah. No, but when I was young, I didn't have access to any of those things. Like, I was raised in a very religious environment. And while my parents weren't necessarily like suck it up or anything, like, they weren't like mean about it, I didn't have any resources. So music was that outlet, like, and things like books and movies, just exactly like you said, like, and that's why I'm so connected to those things because that is what helped me get through those really hard seasons.
Story about my mental health is, and I don't blame my mom at all, at all. So, by talking about this, I'm not trying to talk badly about my mom. But my dad
Right.
passed away 2 weeks before I turned 18 years old. He passed away right after 9/11, and he had cancer for a year. So it was kind of expected at that point.
Right.
So being a teenager, you know, it was hard to actually learn how to cope. You're going through, different emotions at that age. So after he passed away, my grades were slipping, and my mom thought that maybe I had test anxiety. So she brought me to a counselor just to do like a test. So I went in there, answered a bunch of questions, and when they got done, my mom comes back in, and the counselor's like, "Yeah, I don't think it's test anxiety. I think it's something more." And like I said, I'm not blaming my mom. My mom,
Right.
my mom comes from a different time, the different generation.
Yes, yeah.
And since it wasn't test anxiety, it was like, okay, well, if it's not that, then we're done here. So when I graduated high school and I was in college, and I'm now a musician, I'm actually touring, and I'm living a life that's not 9 to 5. And,
Right.
I'm a young adult, and I'm learning about depression, and I'm like, yeah, something's going on with me. And I
Mhm.
started going to counselors since I was like 20 years old. And sometimes I wish, like, yeah, since it wasn't test anxiety and it was something else, I wish that I would have continued to go since that time. But I've been counseling for 20 years. So
Yeah.
I think it's
Yeah.
very important, very important. If
Me
anybody
too.
has any questions, even if you don't think you have depression and you feel like something's off, it's
Yep.
always good to talk to a professional. Just sit down and talk. It's not that scary.
And you just never know, like, when you do go to counseling, what things you'll find out about yourself and, like, the tools that they will give you, right? Because I struggle with both anxiety and depression. Thankfully, I feel like I'm mostly in remission from both of those. But at the time, I was in a very low spot. But my therapist helped me understand that my depression specifically was anxiety induced. If I felt extremely overwhelmed, extremely anxious, then the more depressed that I got. But if I was able to learn to manage my anxiety and use, different coping mechanisms and tools that she helped me find, then my depression was really low. And it stayed that way. If I can, work through the anxiety and just feel your feelings but if you really, like, I had so much internalized stuff because I was trying to be the good daughter and da da da. So anyway, that really, really helped me. And that's just one tiny nugget of the hundreds of things that she taught me.
Yeah. So with this podcast, I like to get personal with myself, but I have bipolar depression. It's something, it used to be called
Yeah.
manic depression. But my thing is all the highs and lows. When I'm on a high,
Yeah.
I'm living on the edge. I'm, you know, just splurging. I'm doing impulsive, like just buying. But then the lows hit, and the lows are like very bad.
Yes.
So, you know, people that live with that live alone and don't talk to anybody, and just, will isolate themselves and don't
Right.
have the means to go to counseling, because some of those sessions can
Mm-hmm.
cost you about $150-$200 for an hour session. If you're someone
Yeah.
that needs it like every 2 to 3 weeks, that can add up. And then,
Yeah.
let's not get started on medication and trying to find the right type of medication to get on. So if you're living on your own and you don't have the support group, it's good to pick up a book, stay with
Right.
me, and read it.
Yeah.
And then the best part about it
Yeah.
is there's gonna be three books.
Woo.
You said that Brian plays bass. He plays
Yes.
bass and he sings.
Yes.
Now I kind of get why you came up with this, because you are a diehard 21 Pilots fan. Like,
So much.
if anybody wants to know anything about 21 Pilots, this is your girl right here, because you've been posting a lot about the lore of 21 Pilots. I
Yes.
didn't realize it
Yes.
was that deep.
Honestly, me neither. Okay, I've been listening to them since 2014, and
Mm-hmm.
I did know the basics. This is the funny thing because suddenly I'm like, I've got my PhD in lore, which really I have. But I just kind of had this like hyperfixation. I have ADHD. So I just when Drag Path dropped and the Breach Digital Remains dropped less than 24 hours after their story ended with City Walls, I was literally like, I got so suspicious. Like, I put on my tinfoil hat because I was like, there's nobody that's dropping this, like, less than 24 hours after they, do their capstone, like their grand finale. No. Well, also, it was just like a really sad ending with a tiny bit of hope at the end, which I'm like, it's fine. Like, I'm like, that's how life is. Like, sometimes you just have that little glimmer of hope. And I was not like, because I think a lot of people think that I'm trying to, I don't know, just like place my own ideas on 21 Pilots. And that's simply not the case. Like, I am in English, like, I used to teach English for 3 years. Like, I have a minor in English, almost a double major. I was like 2 or 3 classes away. So it's just like, I am literally excavating these lyrics. I'm excavating the videos, like all of the different things, the lighting choices, the graphics, like I am genuinely following the drag path. Drag path is about a few different things, like if you want to get technical. But one of the main things is Tyler is saying, I have left evidence. Go find it. And I was like, okay, he's literally telling me to go find the evidence. It's there. I'm going to find it. And I have. And it's absolutely crazy what this man has done. Like, literally Tolkien, but like times like 100, it feels like. Because he didn't just do this in a book. Like, he did this across many years, many different like medias. Like, it's truly incredible. Like, it's crazy.
Yeah, it's insane because so I first heard of them when Stressed Out came out, and
Yes.
I think they have a song called "The Ride," uh,
Yes.
and then they were on the Suicide Squad soundtrack with
Yes.
Heathens, and
Heathens.
and it's like I like them, but they're not like my favorite band. I don't have anything
For
against them.
sure.
If they
Right.
pop up on my playlist, I'm not skipping it. I like it, but so
Right.
that I think they were on tour last year. I think it was like
Yes.
not a stadium tour, but like it was a big arena tour.
Yeah.
I'm seeing the crowds to these concerts. I'm like, I didn't realize 21 Pilots was this big. And then you started posting the videos of all the deep dives of 21 Pilots, and I'm seeing people in the comments. And then obviously you watch 2 videos about 21 Pilots. Next thing you know, your For You page
Yes,
is
your whole
flooded
yeah.
with people also doing the same. Like, am I missing something? Like, it, am I not looking into this? Like, and it's like that's one crazy thing about social media is that like if you want to do something like that, like if you want to start doing deep dives on a band, you can find your people and connect, and then you can learn more about what you're trying to learn. And it's like I have a very
Yes.
ADHD and a very OCD personality to where like when I start fixating on one thing, it's like that's
Yes.
my main focus. But I was like 21 Pilots, and then I had a friend that went to go see them in Dallas last year, and I saw the pictures from that concert. I'm like, I'm not trying to downplay this band, but I didn't realize this band was as huge as they are.
Massive. The biggest band you've never heard of is what a lot of
Yes.
people say. Yeah.
And they're not even
Yeah.
I don't even think they're signed to a major label. I think what there's are they still like Fueled by Ramen? I think
Yeah, I think their contract just ended like not long ago, like a
hmm
few months ago. So, yeah.
and yeah, they're playing these arenas. So I know the
Mhm.
band is 2 members. And I was
Yes.
trying to explain to my son because I picked him up from school yesterday. I was telling him about this episode, and I was listening to 21 Pilots in the car, and he's like, what is this band? I'm like, it's 21 Pilots. I got an episode tomorrow. This girl's into 21 Pilots. I need to listen to them. And Nick's like, oh, this sounds really cool. I'm like, yeah, it's only 2 members. It's only, and he's
Yeah.
like, but it sounds like a full band. And I know the
Yeah.
lead singer plays bass. That's why I said Brian from 320
Yes.
Sycamore. I'm like, I wonder if there was some influence of 21 Pilots,
A
you
hundred
know,
percent. Yeah, and there's like little nuggets like throughout my book, because a lot of people are like, there's something in the 21 Pilots fan base called Joshler, and a lot of people write fanfic about them being together, even though they're both married with children. I'm not into Joshler personally. I think I like fan fiction about characters. So if they are writing about Clancy and Torchbearer, the characters that they play, no problem, right away. But if you're writing about Tyler Joseph and Josh Dunn, that's just like that's crossing a line.
Oh, I've read some fan fiction, and these people get weird with the fan fiction.
That's what I'm saying, and I'm just like, how that's real people. Like, what if their kid logs on when they're a teenager and reads this fanfic?
Exactly. It's like I think was it 21 Shades of Grey is fan fiction of Twilight, I believe.
Yeah, I didn't know that. Yeah.
And it's like that is nothing like Twilight. And it's like
No.
which if it wasn't for Twilight and if it wasn't for 21 Shades of Grey, we wouldn't if it wasn't for My Chemical Romance, we wouldn't have Twilight, 21 Shades of Grey.
There you go.
And actually, if you didn't have that, you wouldn't have the cancellation of Ellen DeGeneres. There's like a whole there's a whole line of events that like led from like My Chemical Romance, 9/11 to Ellen DeGeneres, and it has a lot to do with
I have seen a little bit about that.
Twilight and 21 Shades of Grey. It is 21 Shades of Grey. I don't like I said
51. 51.
You know what?
Yeah. Fact
check me. Go in the comments. Tell me I'm wrong. I don't really care.
We were talking about 21, so it's like it's close.
Yeah, 21. And it's early in the morning. It's a.m.
Yes.
I got no sleep last night because I was up until 1 o'clock in the morning. I'm like, like I told you, when I plan these podcast episodes, I put a lot of thought into it. So like all last night I'm in bed. I'm like, what are some questions I'm going to ask? I'm like, I don't want it to come off like an interview because, Expired Optimism is a conversation. It's not an interview. But at the same time, I want to ask her about her book, and I need people that are watching this episode to know about it. And it's like, next thing you know, I'm like looking at it, I'm like, oh, I got to be up in 4 hours. Like I said,
oh no,
I have very bad mental health, and never being able to sleep is one of the things I deal with. But yeah,
so sorry.
I'm glad you don't do that type of fan fiction for 21 Pilots. I can only imagine.
Yeah,
the people that do have it.
It's crazy.
So when you want to write a book, like the final product, is it something that you had in mind, like, or is it like, was there something along the way where like it started off with this and then this and then this and then, or like was a book about a band delving into mental health? Was that like your idea of what you wanted, or like what was the original plan?
I don't know. Okay, so my husband I used to write poems a lot, and my husband put poems in a book, gave it to me for Christmas. I don't know, something about holding that book. I was like, I want to write a book. And so I started just like writing down scenes of like a band doing things. And I hadn't even yet named them. Like I had named the characters, had not yet named the band. I remember I tweeted out, and it's so funny because my friend Daniel, who ended up making the song, I tweeted out a poll, and I was like, what should I call my fictional band? And it had like 320 Sycamore was in the options, and it won. So I ended up calling them 320 Sycamore. But Daniel had commented underneath, and he was like, this one is the best. It wasn't 320 Sycamore, though, but his band, Cobra Doug, is the one that ended up making that. Anyway, but yeah, the book goes through a lot of phases. So I actually got about 3/4 through the first draft, and I wasn't liking it, but I didn't want to scrap the idea. I'm like, this idea is important, and it was leaning towards mental health. It actually kind of leaned a little more into social disparity at first between him and his girlfriend. Not exactly a Cinderella story, but they just come from very different worlds. Like, she's Hispanic, like her dad is on disability because he had an accident at like a job site like when she was younger. So, and all those things. So I was like, I don't know, it doesn't feel right. So I ended up hiring a developmental editor, and they were like, I think what you're not liking is there isn't enough tension in the romance, which I also had gone in. like being like, I want to show a healthy relationship because I feel like that is what I have with my husband. Like it's very balanced, very just like great. It's wonderful. Like I was like, I want to show a healthy relationship, but let me tell you something. Healthy relationships are boring to read
Yeah,
about.
yeah. It's kind of like
Um,
the news and the Weather Channel. No one's watching the Weather Channel when it's sunny outside. They want a hurricane. They want a
exactly.
tornado.
Yeah, so after that, I decided I kept the same characters. I just decided to up the ante a little bit between them. And then there was one character that I knew was going to play a big role who's not in the band. He's actually in his own band called Crotch Rocket, and he is the front man. And so I kind of like added more about his story. Like there's so many deleted scenes, like just from this book alone. So
Well, you got two more. You
yeah.
got two more volumes to go with. So
Yes.
you use those ideas for future novels. So
That's right. That's right.
they're going on a world tour, right? Like
Yes. Yeah, at the
they're leaving
very
home and they're
end.
oh, where are they heading
Yes.
to? Or actually no, don't tell me. The readers need to find
Don't
out for
tell you.
themselves. But
No,
they
I
are
can tell you a little. It's for book two. It is a world tour, so they're actually going to do a leg that because you don't really see them on tour in this book, so that's why I'm like, it's not a spoiler. So next book, they're going to be on the world tour, which gives me some free reign to like go overseas a little bit, change the scenery, which I'm really excited about. But they're going on Distortion Tour in the summer, which is my version of Warp Tour.
oh, that's cool.
So that's
Distortion
where the
tour.
book starts on
I like
Distortion
that.
Tour. Yeah.
I'm glad that you used a real band for the music of 320 Sycamore because
Yes.
you could have easily, and I would have been a little cringed about it. You could have easily used AI music. You could have easily used AI music, and I'm glad you didn't because even though AI, ChatGPT, can be a good tool to use, the program that I use for my podcast, has a bunch of
Sure.
AI tools, and it's mainly just to make my job a lot easier. But
Yeah.
there's a lot of people that use AI and ChatGPT to actually replace art, literature, music, movies, photography. And being a content creator with a music related niche, I always have bands reaching out to me, giving me copies of their music for me to promote. And I'll listen to it. I'm
Yep.
like, this is obviously AI. So
Yep.
for you to actually get, a band and artist to actually make the music, which there's gonna be two more volumes of this. You need to stay good with them because
Yeah.
they got to write future material for 320 Sycamore.
Yes.
I'm not deep into the literature culture.
Right.
I'm assuming like AI is playing a huge part in literature right now and it's negatively affecting that industry. Are you saying that?
It absolutely, yeah. There's always some kind of controversy going on in the book community about AI.
Mm-hmm.
Rightfully so. Like writing is a craft, and I think that's what people really miss. Like if you are using AI to create any kind of art, you're missing such a beautiful experience of being human and the act of creating. Because yeah, it's just like while it may not be perfect the first try and you have to work at it, there is such incredible just like self-discovery and excitement, and I don't know, there's so much you miss if you immediately jump to using AI. And I just feel like the soul, especially of music and literature and things like that, like I don't know, like the soul is missing. If you use AI, it's just like you rip the soul out of it because what we connect to is the humanity of the story. I mean, even if you think about like Superman, I love Superman, huge Smallville
Oh,
fan.
I,
But
I got a
like,
Superman. I got a
let's
Superman
go.
tattoo. Yeah.
Yes. Um, but if you think about it, like what you're drawn to is Clark Kent's
Mm-hmm.
humanity, like the humanity of Superman. Same with art. That is its strength. That is its superpower, is the humanity of art.
Yeah, and I believe that if you depend so much on AI as a replacement for it, you kind of lack that authenticity, that
Mm-hmm.
personal touch. It's like I despise AI music, because like
Yes.
one, it sounds the same, and then it makes me feel bad for the bands that are actually struggling and trying to get their name out there
Yeah.
and actually like coming up with the money to actually record a song. And there's so much
Yes.
involved in like putting everything in to make a final product, which like for you, writing a book took years and all the
Yes.
resources that you had to actually write the book. And someone can click science fiction, click and get a 500-page book written out. And it's like,
Right.
it takes away the personality out of it because, you know, the pictures don't look good. The writing is crap.
Yeah, there's a quote, and I can't remember who said it. It's a lady, but she is basically like, I want AI to do my dishes and my laundry so I have more time to create art, not AI
Okay,
that makes
yeah.
the art for me. And that's exactly how I feel. I'm like, I want AI that makes my life easier, that frees me up to be creative and have time to invest in the things that I love, like whether that be being outside or being at a show, because those things all add up to creation. Like if you don't have time to live, you're not going to create. Um Also just like AI yeah, you can tell. You can tell, right? And it's because, I don't know, but it is really frustrating in the writer community because now things that we have taught, been taught, the rule of three. So like you list things off in a list, you know, like cute, funny, smart, you know, if you list that off with commas. Well, now AI is using that a lot. And so people think that if you use the rule of three, which has been a thing in English for a very long time, that you're using AI. Like,
Yes. Like
yeah.
I think that the next generation of music, not next generation, but like I believe there's going to come to a point where bands, and I know I bring up music a lot mainly because I'm music related
Yeah.
niche content creator. It's like I think that you're going to start seeing bands recording more raw recordings instead of
Yeah.
like very polished, just to to have that more personal touch and just authenticity because this AI music sounds so polished and
Yeah.
it's the auto tune, everything is so perfect. And I do believe that we should have some imperfections in our life. Um,
Yes. I
Now
agree.
back to the book, and I know you have the book with you. Um,
Yes.
the book has piano keys on the side, doesn't it?
Oh, yes, yes.
That's
Some of the
so cool.
copies.
I
Yeah.
love that. That's awesome.
Thank you. I
So,
appreciate it.
where can people find the book?
Yeah, right now it is on Amazon. You can get it for Kindle and also paperback there. And then you can also get it on Kobo. I do plan on eventually getting it on Barnes and Noble. That's kind of taken a back burner because I'm sending out book orders. But eventually the hardback should be on Barnes and Noble. Hopefully by hopefully the end of this month or like sometime in June. We'll see.
So you're dealing with all the distribution.
Yeah.
So you probably have a box full of books in your house.
Yes, I do. You should see my kitchen. It's so messy.
So I'm gonna let you know. I'm gonna include the links to everything
Okay.
in the description of this video. So for those
Okay.
of you you're watching and is curious about Stay With Me and 320 Sycamore, in the description below, you'll find the links to order Stay With Me. Do you still do the different plans or like the different orders? Like,
Oh, the tiers? No, that
mhm.
was I made it a pre-order only. So like kind of like bands do, like limited edition merch and stuff.
Well, that's
But there will
cool.
be tiers again when I release the second book, hopefully
Yeah,
2028.
yeah, because with the story being about a band, the ideas that you can run with is endless.
Yes.
Eventually you can make a website and you can have like a merch store for the band.
Yes.
But Anna B, I appreciate you hopping on to Expired Optimism. For all of
Absolutely.
you that are watching, like I said, click the description below. Here are all of her socials. Go follow her. Go check out the book. Stay with me. Links are below. Anna, I appreciate you hopping on, talking about the book, talking about the band, talking about 21 Pilots, talking about mental health. Like I said, May is Mental Health Awareness Month. So just take some time. Take some time, learn about it. You don't have to be an expert about mental health, but there's hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and thousands of websites that you can go to. And if you can just sit down and just learn about mental health in just some way, it could help yourself and it could help your friends or family, give you a better understanding of what others are going through. Because you are not alone. And Anna, thank you for joining. This is
Thank you
Expired
for having
Optimism.
me. Peace.